I'm Tom Johnson, Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. I hope you watched my video from last November about the restoration of this desk. The video was called "This One Is in Pieces," and we'll provide links to that video. But this piece was a real mess. I managed to glue it back together, make a lot of repairs, and refinish it. But I didn't do anything about the missing pieces. I asked the viewers for help, and boy did they respond with a lot of information. Some of the best information, I think, was from our viewer Michael, who sent a copy of the catalog from Maple and Company of London in 1891. Mine doesn't have the top section, but you can clearly see the two doors. I had a drawer made by the Eagle Woodworking Company in Massachusetts. It only made sense to have it made, but plus these machine cut dovetails match the dovetails in these drawers really well, and that's what I wanted. This drawer could have been deeper, but files can't go this way. It's not wide enough. They can only go this way. So I made it just deep enough for a few files across here. I can't get the drawer in right now because these drawer stops are in the way, but I've got to fix that and get it in there. And I'll just make a conventional door that will fit here with a shelf inside. Even though there was not a lot of evidence of a door being here, there must have been. I'm going to start by making the door. I'm going to put these together dry without glue, just to see if everything lines up all right. But I'm not ready to glue this up yet. I've got a few more details to take care of. You can see on this door there's a chamfered edge here on the inside. I've got my chamfer bit in the router. I'm going to do that here. I don't necessarily have to have it assembled to do that, but it helps me see my exit points and clamp it down to the bench. Okay, I've got chamfer all the way around. Now I will take it apart. I've got to make a dado for the panel to fit in here. First thing I'm going to do is mount my hinges. I have new hinges exactly the same size as the old ones, and I'm going to mount them where the original screw holes were. Note that I'm using steel Phillips head screws just for the initial installation. When I'm done, I'll replace those with brass screws. It's too easy to break a brass screw in this super hard wood. Okay, I've got the door working fairly well. I still got to, cut a keyhole and maybe put an escutcheon on there. But in the meantime, before I get back to that, I want to get started on this drawer, get this fitted and working. If you remember, there's these drawer stops here and here, just 2 dowels. And I thought, I need to get those out of there and replace them with dowels I can take in and out. And I thought, well, maybe they're not glued in there. So let me try. Yes. See, they weren't glued. I don't think. Maybe. Turns out that those dowels, the other end of them, were the drawer stop for the drawer above. They went all the way through. That's great. Hey, not bad. This is the first time I've had a drawer in. Oh, excellent. So I'm going to put this handle on the drawer, and then I'm going to finish the sides and the interior. I think that looks about right. Hard to tell. Okay, back to the door. You know, I've been thinking a lot about the possibility of putting a lock on here with an escutcheon, like the original door. Of course, the original door has an escutcheon, of course, and it had a lock. You can see the outline here of where there was a surface lock. But I don't want locks on these doors. Locks mean keys. Keys get lost. Locks get stuck. I've had to deal with so many lock problems over the years. I'm going to put magnetic catches on these, and I think I'll leave this style just plain. It'll help make this door a lot less obvious. I had given up on the idea that this could be a secret door because I felt I would have needed to do that when I had it apart. But by leaving off an escutcheon and lock here, The door is an almost secret door. I've glued this block inside the door frame. I'll be able to screw the magnet here on that block. When dealing with hard wood, I use steel screws for the installation. Then your brass screws. In case anyone is sensitive to flashing lights, there's some footage in this video that simulate that situation. I will hit this gong before it starts, and again afterwards. Alright, the stain's dried overnight. I'll give it the first coat of finish. I'll use my favorite varnish here, the Waterlocks, which is what I used on the desk. Alright, these have dried overnight. They've dried well. And so now it's time for a color check. Yeah, so the base color here is great, but I need a little more colorant. Maybe a little more Van Dyke brown, something like that. I'll have to experiment a little bit. This is not bad at all. You know, this panel seems to match that one. The frame could use a little more color. So I'm going to sand these lightly with 320 just to smooth them up a little bit, and then I will apply a coat of varnish, but we're going to put a little color in the varnish. I was going to use some varnish, mix some color in it, and use that as a glaze, but I have finishing glaze pre-mixed, and I'm going to use that. Glaze consists of a medium. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It has alkyd resins in it. It's compatible with other finishes. And also, of course, Van Dyke brown oil color. And this is a dry brush. You also leave a little glaze in the corners and edges and stuff that gives a desirable effect. These horizontal styles were also lighter, so I'm going to go back and leave a little more on those. There's a little sample piece where you can really see the difference between where I've glazed and where I didn't glaze. It'll be more obvious after I put a coat of finish on here. Okay, I'll let these dry overnight. Okay, my glaze coat has dried. Now I give it a coat of varnish. Now this varnish could soften my glaze coat and pull it and mess it up. So I'll go just with a light coat and one stroke. Don't go back. Okay, I'll let these dry overnight. They look good. So now I'm going to sand them up with a little bit of 320 and put the final coat on them. Before the final coat, I always like to wipe an object down with this wax wash remover by Mohawk. It's kind of like paint thinner, something in that category, but it does a great job of getting any contaminants off. All right, everything looks good. So now I'll go over these surfaces with some craft paper to smooth them out. I've got to install the handle, make sure the drawer works great, and install the hardware on the door, and hang the door. And at this point, I put in brass slotted screws. The door needs a pull, so I cut this piece of felt. Used a thumbtack on the inside of the door. That's about as close to a secret door as I can get for right now anyway. Well, here we go, finally. Finally, the desk is done. Well, I hope you saw my video about the restoration of this desk. It was called Impossible. This was in pieces. And I didn't finish the job in that video because I didn't quite know what was going to happen here. I also didn't know what was going to happen in this space, and I wanted to get input from my viewers, which I did, and of course just went with a conventional drawer. I had this drawer made by Eagle Woodworking, and then I finished it to match. It works great. And I made a door for this compartment. It originally had a shelf in there. I haven't made a shelf yet because I'm not sure exactly what we're going to put in there. But finally, it's complete, and I think it looks pretty good.